Now you should be able to hear me loud and clear. You can hear me loud and clear. Put a number one in the chat room. Put a number one in the chat room if you can hear me loud and clear. The stream is a bit rate higher than the recommended bit rate. Recommend. Y'all, you can hear me good, good, good. We recommend that your stream bit rate to open widget. You should be able to hear me loud and clear now. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. It's a little low. Okay, let's see. Open it up just a little bit. You should be able to hear me now. I got another system that I'm working on, and let's see what we doing here. Should be able to hear me. Here we go. Suggestions. So let me check something. But you should, if you can hear me, it's a little low. It should be fresh now. Let me make sure I got my mic in the right spot. So you should be able to hear me loud and clear now. Let's change this bit rate, but you should be able to hear the LDA audio control. You should be able to hear me loud and clear. But yeah, so today, I came back from West Palm Beach. Great, had a good time. Do some things. Went a little sideways. Good is good now. Good. That's what I want to hear. Good. Because I'm using something. I'm using a whole different system, and I wanted to test it out to make sure. Okay, audio mixer is good. Everything's good. Yeah. So you should be able to hear me loud and clear. Streaming bit rate. Okay. Events. And I hate to be talking like this, but I am output. So it's good now. Great, 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 great bit rate. So they want me to slow down my bit rate. Okay, we slow down the bit rate for a minute, for a second to 220. So yeah, but great trip. But let me drop some game on you right quick. So one of the biggest things that takeaways is I had to change my bit rate right quick. One of the biggest things that was a great takeaway from the trip is you gotta. I think a lot of times men do not take the time to learn their bodies and to learn what's going on with you. When I was on the trip out there, I was a little out of sorts and I was not able to function like I normally function because some things were out of sorts with me. But what I did notice was that I was able to create just a little bit of content, but not enough that I was actually satisfied with. But I'm gonna tell you something really, really, really took place there that really, that really, really, really helped me out a lot, and that was guys, money. One of the biggest things that really was good. Good to see everyone. First, let me say, good to see everybody that's in the chat room. Take a minute for everybody to get into the chat room, but I will say this. So there, there was a lot. There was a lot of lessons going on down there. Governor tells me to tell everybody hello. That was one thing. But let me drop this. Let me drop some game on you. One of the biggest things that was so important on this trip, I think for a man, is it's important that you. We talked about this before. That you break out of your comfort zone, and that you do things that make you uncomfortable, that unnerve you. And I think a lot of times, a lot of men do not do things that make them uncomfortable, and they end up staying in the same place and the staying doing the same thing, and they never get to grow. You never grow when you are comfortable. Let me say that again. You never grow when you are comfortable. Let me say it. You never truly grow if you are comfortable and where you are at. Your voice goes to loud, then okay. I'm not sure what it is. Thought it was my phone. Good morning. What's good morning? So something is going on with the audio. Okay. So it goes from high to low. Okay, good. So you never grow. We got to figure that out. I work out the kinks. You never grow. Um, you never grow while being comfortable. And I think what happens is, I was in a place even down there. I was uncomfortable. I was around people uncomfortable. And what happens is it exposes your insecurities, but it exposes where you need to grow. Let me figure out what's going on. I might change mics right quick. Let me change mics and see what this if this helps out a lot. Let me see if I can if this one is even plugged in. Let me plug in this other mic. The alert on your phone is the alert on your phone is loud. Oh, you can hear everything. So it's picking up everything. I'm gonna plug in this other microphone that I have. Stay there 1 second, guys. I apologize because this is not. I'm gonna plug this other microphone in. 1 2 1 2. What about now? Is it better now? You should be able to hear me now loud and clear. I got my other mic. If you can hear me, is this better? Let me know. Let me know if you can hear this one better or this one is better. How does this one sound? I got my other microphone. A lot better. Good. Okay. So this is the microphone y'all never see. It's the microphone y'all never see at all. This is my condenser mic. Let me cut the other microphone off, and I'm gonna hold this one. I don't know why my other ones are working right. Bit of a feedback. Well, okay. So we'll kill the feedback. There we go. Oh, I know what the issue is too. I don't have my other. Whoop. There we go. That should be way better now. Way better. Let me cut this one off. 1 second. I tell you, I love technology. So there we go. So if this is better, let me know. A little bit of a feedback. Okay, a lot better. Good. So one of the things that was is making sure I was completely out of my comfort zone, and I even if it didn't, it was even to the point where I did not sleep well at all. And since I didn't sleep well at all, it threw off the things I was supposed to do for us with making content and all that was going on. And so I had to realize, wait a minute, I'm in an uncomfortable place mentally, spiritually, everything was thrown off. And what I had to do, I said, let me make an adjustment here. Let me do something to what do I need to do to make me an adjustment? Even the food was good, everything like that, but it was just I was in a completely different, uncomfortable situations rather. And so one of the things I think as a man, we need to get into those places where we are uncomfortable, where it challenges us to be a better version of who we are. And I think a lot of men have been veered off from that because we've been lulled to sleep by being comfortable of where we are at. Whereas either financially, relationship wise, it could be mentally, with everything that we're going on, we have lost the ability to be, we have lost our ability to grow and to want more when we become comfortable. If you become comfortable with anything, it is a sure sign that you are not growing. It is a sure sign that you are not going. It's a sure sign that you are not growing. And I think a lot of times, the mentality that we have, especially in this culture in the United States, is for especially men to lose that killer instinct. And I'm not talking about you going out to kill somebody. I'm talking about your ability to think on your feet and your ability to take charge and to dominate. And so what will happen is we've been lulled to sleep as men. I realized that when I got uncomfortable, I couldn't sleep. Then I was sleeping at my wrong time. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. Something is off here. What do I need to do? And I realized that one of the real issue was I've been lulled to sleep by the comfort of a constant paycheck, the comfort of doing things as routine. And what happens is it throws that killer or that instinct in you to want more and to go after more. And what happens is if that happens to you, it leads to you almost you become the walking dead. You become the walking dead. And so many men, especially in this YouTube space and everything like that, I realize that a lot of men have become the walking dead or become so gnawed to sleep with comfortability when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to their life, the car they drive and everything that they do, that they have not gone to the next level. I even told you guys that we are at a place right now where we're getting into, I think in October we said it starts the fourth quarter. You should be preparing for 2024 now. And what happens is if you're not preparing for 2024 now, what's going to happen to you? Life is not going to. Life is about growth and uncomfortability. Let me say that again. Life is about growth and uncomfortability. Today, I even got uncomfortable. The new fiscal year, right? Even today, I'm uncomfortable because I'm using a different platform. I'm using a different microphone than I normally use, and I'm doing stuff completely different. Why? I need to break out of my comfort zone of doing stuff the routine way. What happens is it doesn't trigger off your brain cells for you to stretch yourself. Any man, I'm talking to the man in here, you have to learn to get in a place where you begin to stretch. None of this game works. I don't care what they tell you on these YouTube streets, what they've been gassing you up, blowing smoke up your behind. None of this works until you get uncomfortable. Correct. I like that. I agree. Only women and children can afford to be comfortable. No man should be able to be comfortable where he's at. The way he's dressed, the way he looks, the way he's carrying himself, his hair. He should be ever in a place of ever evolving as a man. He should be in a place of ever evolving as a man. If you are not, you are by nature dying. I have to hold my mic. You by nature are dying. You in the dying, the death is a slow death and it's not a fast death. That's the difference. And I've seen so many on these YouTube streets, Instagram streets, Facebook streets, who are slowly dying and don't even know it. They're slowly decaying, and it starts within because they have not mastered the ability to get uncomfortable. So even though I went on this trip to Fort Lauderdale and to West Palm Beach and was down there, it was very uncomfortable for me. And I'm not a salute, peace and blessings. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that right there. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let me give you. Appreciate that right there. Appreciate that. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you. So I understand what you were saying about running in the game on yourself, inner dialogue. You got that right. But the thing of it is, I realized on this trip that I have grown comfortable with everything around me. I've grown comfortable with the stream. I grow comfortable with I grown comfortable with I wanted to be this. This is what I wanted to do too. Boom. Yeah, I've grown comfortable with I've grown comfortable with just everything that's going on. I want to, me and John, we talk about this all the time. Sometimes you got to throw the baby. They said don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes you got to throw the baby out and the bathwater. You have to learn how to cut everything else and make it completely new. So I'm gonna tell you. So this trip, I had time to think a little bit, but I still was in like a brain fog. I could even make the content that I normally make. So if you on my Instagram, you'll see some of the things that I've done. But one of the things I realized, the ability that I realized that I was not in a place of being uncomfortable, that I have became ease, as they would say in Zion. And so what you have to do, especially as men, let me talk to the men, especially as men, get into a place where you normally don't go, deal with people that you normally don't deal with, dialogue with people that you normally don't dialogue, and get out of your comfort zone. This is not what I was planning on talking about, but just today, get out of your comfort zone. Like I'm even using the mic that I'm even not even comfortable using, but get out of your comfort zone. One of the things that's robbing men of that energy around them that makes them magnetic is your ability to go after the next, your ability to strive for something better. And I think a lot of men have lost it because they're satisfied with where they're at. And they're not, and don't get into the thing where you're constantly chasing after the next, but you got to realize there's always more. And so one of the things that men must do is go into the crevices of their mind and say, where have I gone comfortable at? Where have I grown lax? Where have I allowed things to slip? Where have I allowed things to go the direction or things to be as normal? Where haven't I changed my routine? I'm gonna tell you one of the things I normally do. I change my routine regularly. It keeps the mind sharp. Why do I change my routine? I change it to keep my mind sharp. You wonder why the game is not working for you or why things are not moving the direction it needs to move for you? Because you have gone comfortable or coming on YouTube and getting information and doing nothing with it. You got comfortable of just getting information and not dissecting it, not digesting it and actually using it in your life. That is the reason why so many men, especially on these YouTube streets, get comfortable listening to the same scenarios and they never grow past the content that they're hearing. You should listen to some content to a certain degree and progress. Second of all, you got to look at who are you listening to? Are they progressing? If all they're doing is talking the same thing they said 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and they don't grow, you need to watch who you're listening to because you're feeding off of the plate that has not been changed. It's the worst thing to go to a restaurant and then you realize that they have the same food. They took the food from yesterday and put it back out for today, and they don't bring out fresh food. Would you go to a restaurant that's bringing out the same burgers that they cooked yesterday and give it to you today? Why would you listen to the same content that's not fresh, that's not giving you life, that's not pushing you to be the best version of who you are? It's the same thing in your life. You have to grow uncomfortable of where you are at. Thank you so much for that super chat right there. Appreciate that. You have to grow uncomfortable. What happens is a lot of men, and I'm going to say this because I got a little bit of time, I grow comfortable on YouTube on talking about the disparities or talking about what women doing and what they ain't doing. A lot of men have got comfortable on YouTube and on Facebook and everything else on blaming women. Some people make their whole show on what the woman ain't doing, but you never hear them talking about what you need to do as a man to be a better version of who you are. trust me, I know what I'm talking about. If you are on these YouTube streets and you're comfortable, you're grown that comfortable that everything that you looking at is about blame, 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 women, 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 ain't nothing, they ain't sugar, honey, iced tea, the modern woman, and you digesting that, you're not ready for the next level. You're not ready for the next level. It's too many, too many men do that. We as men need to keep ourselves the prize and everything else follows. Correct. That's why I'm saying what happened on this trip. I'm telling you, brothers, man. When I go on a trip, I'm ready to go, full of energetic. Everything was thrown off. Governor even said, it's like, hey, son, you all right? You good? And what happens is I realized I was out of my comfort zone. Oh, thank you. You're very welcome for the wrench. Once you get out of your comfort zone as a man, you find out what you are made of. Let me say that again. see, men grow through challenge, not through comfort. Let me say that again. Men, what's going on, Yahoo? Yahoo, you need to hit me up on the back end because I need to get those dates for DC. Men grow through challenge, not through comfort. Any boxer, yeah, hit me up on the back end so we can get those dates for October for us with DC. Men grow through challenge, not through comfort. Any boxer who don't expect to get in the ring and not get hit, he's not ready to be a boxer. It's cool. Any man who thinks he's going to be a boxer and expects to not get hit, to not to get chin check, not to get a body shot, is not ready to be a boxer. But we got a lot of men who want to go into the game of life who don't expect to get hit, not to have to go through anything, and not to get out of their comfort zone. When a boxer steps into the ring, he expects on some level he got to defend himself, but he also got to expect that he will get hit. That's uncomfortable. But many times we are looking for the way so that we do not get hit instead of looking in a way, how do I grow past getting hit? That is the true challenge of whether you're ready to be a man or you're ready for the next level of game. Growing out of your comfort zone, growing past the point of where you're at. That's what I said this trip was eye-opening for me because it caused me to look and say, hey, I got some things that are out of order. Or I got some things that I'm uncomfortable in some things. I've grown too comfortable in some areas. Grown too comfortable where I live, where I stay. Too comfortable with the streaming. Too comfortable with what I do on YouTube, on Instagram, and Facebook. Everything must change. You got to get to the point where you look at your life, do an inventory and check and say, wait a minute. Where have I grown comfortable? Have you even grown comfortable with how much money that you're receiving? Have you grown comfortable? Have you grown too comfortable with the women that you're dealing with? Have you grown too comfortable with the clothes that you're wearing, with your style? A man should be always evolving to the best version of who he is. Now, this is the key. The best version of who he is always stuck inside of him. It's always trying to come out. The best version of you is not on the outside of you. The best version of you starts on the inside of you, trying to come out. But many of you refuse to release the seed or refuse to get uncomfortable because you know why? You've grown too familiar with everything around you. Yeah. Forever learning. Yeah. You've grown too familiar with where you live, where you work at, what you deal with, the food that you eat. I mean, this last weekend I had vegan jerk. It wasn't jerk chicken, but vegan jerk. And it was good. Very uncomfortable for me. But the thing of it is, too many men are grown too comfortable and where they're at. And then they get mad and then they project on the women that they're at or dealing with or the women that they see. When you, my friend, you, my brother, are the issue. Oh, there you go, right there. I like that. You saying being comfortable is also letting people go when you know deep down you need to go. Yeah, I love the one day I need this every day. You've grown too comfortable. You've grown too comfortable. Some of y'all are too comfortable in dealing with the same people that you're dealing with. I had to look at me. I was uncomfortable with some people that I had to deal with when I was there. I was groggy. I was in a bad mood. I was uncomfortable. I didn't even want to speak. And that's not me because I'm a very nice going guy, congenial, can talk to anybody. I was uncomfortable. Why? Because it was out of my spoke. The reason why it's uncomfortable with a lot of people. Y'all ready for this? The reason why it's uncomfortable with a lot of us is because when we are in comfort, we can control the narrative and we can control what goes on. That's why it's comfortable. Let me say that again. The reason why we love being comfortable is because it's familiar with us and we can predict and we know what's going on and we can control the narrative. We have an innate ability as human beings, and particularly men, that we want to control what's going on. But when things are uncomfortable, we can't control what's going to happen next. It causes our mind to say, wait, what do I do next? So the issue is about control. That's why comfortable is so good. Thank you. The fear of the unknown. And if you have the fear of the unknown, it's because you can't control what the unknown was going to be or what's going to take place. You should not be listening to anybody that has not caused you, who has not provoked you to be uncomfortable. I don't care who it is. If it's even me, don't listen to me. Don't come on this channel if it doesn't provoke you to be uncomfortable and stretch you as a man. You should be uncomfortable listening to me. I should challenge you in every moment that you come and listen to LDA. I should be challenging the way you dress, the way you move, the way you deal with women, the way you've been perceiving things. You should become uncomfortable listening to me. Too many of us have come comfortable and knowing the game, but we have not become uncomfortable in using the game. We come too comfortable on where we're at. And I'm saying this because it's been me this week. I realized in some areas that I've been too comfortable with. And what happens is when you become comfortable with something and you know it's time to move on or trying to adjust, you try to patch up you try to patch up things that don't need to be patched up. They need to be let go. You become a master at patching up things instead of trying to what? Say, you know what? It's time to move on. Think about it. If you would have came comfortable having the same job you had when you were 16 years old. Some of y'all, what if you came comfortable at the first job that you ever had and you never left there? What happened if you would have got comfortable being at the same job that you were when you first got your first job? What if you got comfortable living in the same place that you were living at when you were first got your first spot? What if you never challenge yourself and say that there is more? I was too comfortable in my hours of work. I wanted more. So I took a contract with the Kennedy Center and I love it. Right there. Comfortable crawling. Thank you. Right there. I like that. I was too comfortable in my hours worked. I wanted more. So I took a contract with the Kennedy Center and I love it. Sometimes what's really going on underneath the surface is that, and you're trying to project it on the women and the children and everything around you, is that you're grown too comfortable or where you are at. And what happens is there's a nudging feeling underneath the surface of who you are as a man, and you can't scratch it. It's bothering you. There's a uncomfortable feeling under. And so you try to, let me go drink. Let me go get some sex. Let me go deal with another woman. Let me go eat something. Let me go try to go play games. Or let me go do something. No. The issue is you ain't dealing with the voice inside in you that's saying that you, as Yahoo just said, that you should have more. You ain't dealing with the voice inside of you when you go to sleep and you tossing and turning and it's poking you, is saying you should have more. You ain't dealing with that. You ain't dealing with you ain't dealing with you ain't dealing with the part of you that's inside of you that says you need to have more. And what happens is we try to mute that voice inside of us. We try to lessen it so it doesn't we don't hear it. And what happens is this. We do ourselves a disservice, but we do everybody around us a disservice when we get too comfortable in where we are at. I'm very uncomfortable right now. I'm using a different streaming service. I'm using one of my mics I had for over 10 years, which I don't even use, but it's making me uncomfortable because I'm looking at numbers, I'm looking at everything. But it is at that point that you get pure satisfaction when you get uncomfortable where you at and you begin to go to the next. If this is resonating with you, let me know in the chat room. Put a number 2 in the chat room if this is resonating with you. Put a number 2 in the chat room if this is resonating with you. Put a number 2 in the chat room if this is resonating with you. You can always tell when a man is comfortable where he's at because he's not wanting more. I didn't say he's not appreciative of where he's at, but he's not comfortable of where he's at. I mean, he's too comfortable where he's at. Sometimes you got to look at your life and say, everything must change. Everything must change. Everything must change. You need to look at your life now and say, okay, everything's running smooth. It looks good. What must I change? What must I adjust? Good. And thank you so much. What must I flip around to get a better result? That is the real game. If there was ever a game, that's the real game. Shout out to you, King. That's the real game when you have gotten uncomfortable. You don't know let me say this for those who always talk about game online and game this, game that, and game this. You don't know your game. You don't know the level of game you have. Pay attention to what I'm about to say. You don't know the level of game that you have until you put in a situation where you're uncomfortable and you got to drop the game that you do have. Some of your games have not been adjusted or have not grown because you have not been thrown in a situation where you have to use the game in an uncomfortable situation. I know that's sort of tongue twister, but you don't know the level of your game until you place in an uncomfortable situation. Take Yahoo for instance. He's at the Kennedy Center. So when he goes, if he got to go to the Kennedy Center, he's not at the usual place he usually is with all his friends at work and whatever the case may be. That means he got to learn a new set of people. He got to learn how the system works there at the Kennedy Center. He got to know what he can wear, what he can't wear. He got to learn. It's going to test his level of game. Yep, I was just in one and it showed me who I, yep. See, your level of game that you have is only shown when you realize you're when you realize, make sure I understand this correctly, because you always got to test your game when you're in an uncomfortable situation. See what happened is everybody want to use the game as a sure way to make sure everything, it's a sure predictable way of how things are going to happen. But I'm here to tell you that the way you can know that your game is really on point and on top of it and that you're doing 100% is when you are in an uncomfortable situation and you pull from what's inside of you out and say, hey, let me play this card today. Let me do this today. Some things, some things are never going to be birthed out of you in a place of comfort. Yeah, the new system, and I've been with my other clients for 8 years, and still my clients want more. Hence, the portfolio grows. Right? You would never know the potentiality of who you are until you get out of where you're at. Moses, not Moses, was it Moses? Abraham never got his name changed until he left where he was. Correct. Yep. Moses, not Moses, I always want to go to Moses, but Abraham, name did not change until he left his father. And then he took his nephew with him. Some of y'all are in the same place as Abraham, and you're not willing to leave the land that you're in to go into where you need to be at. Let me say that again. Some of you are just like Abram. His name was Abram. Then it became Abraham. It was at that point where he had to leave his father in the land that he grew up in, or the place of being comfortable. And if you look at the story, even right, didn't listen to him. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't even. That's right. You're right about Moses. But Abraham had to leave his father's country. And when we look at it, say in an esoteric way, his father's country was his father's mindset and way of doing things. And he had to go to a land, to a different land. But one thing that Abraham messed up in, he took his nephew who did not, who what did his nephew do? Him and his nephew got into it. They got into a fight. Why? They get into a fight. The fight we think was physical, but the fight was a mental thing. But Moses had to leave his father's country, took his wife, Sarah. Why? He had to go into a place that was uncomfortable and journey there. Even Lot took his wife. What did Lot's wife do? They got comfortable in a particular city, and what happened? She turned back and looked and turned into a pillar of salt. So we can say that can physically happen, but she turned into what? A pillar of salt because she grown comfortable in the place that they were at. Even Abram had to be careful that he didn't get comfortable on where he was at. Then he turned into Abraham. I'm trying to give you examples so you get this, that the problem is, if you look at the examples, say in the Bible, you'll see that any man who did anything that's noteworthy was a man who had to travel somewhere. And many times we think that traveling is physical travel, but the travel is merely meant, the first traveling that you first must do is the mental travel that you got to take. Abraham had to leave the country that where his father was. I think if I remember correctly, he left his father. He left what? He had to leave his father. Some of y'all have not left the comfort of what you know. And that is the reason why you are not growing. You will never experience the fruit. You will never experience the things that you need to experience because you got comfortable in the city, mental, it can be physical too. The comfort of the food, the things that you've been at, because you got comfortable in where you are at. Check any man in history. It was is the men who stamped history was the men who got uncomfortable and where they were at. Check it. Yep, there you go. Yep, he had to go ahead with his father. Yep, and he was an idol worshiper. You were correct. Sometimes you gotta leave people, and we can look at idol worshipers. He's worshiping sticks and stones and all like that. But the idol could be he's worshiping the present. Are you as a man, are you worshiping your present and you're not seeing that your present where you are at is idolatry? What you have now has because you are now worshiping at the temple of the right now and not realizing that you need to go to the what's next. So we can condemn Abraham's father because he was an idol worshiper. But the worshiper he was doing can very well be the same worshiping that you were doing. You idolizing the things that you have gone comfortable with. See, his father was supposed should have went with him, but he was caught up with being comfortable, worshiping the things that were comfortable to him. He was comfortable in worshiping the things that were comfortable to him, and he refused to go to the next level. Same thing with you as a man. What idols are you worshiping that you're growing comfortable with right now? Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and just dump everything and live in the streets and do all like that. What idols are you worshiping right now that you are looking at? And are you going to be Abraham or are you going to be his father and stuck in the same place and die? And too many men are dying right now because they stuck in being comfortable on where they're at. And you know I'm speaking to me first. If you're grown comfortable, are you Abraham or are you Terah? You need to be honest with yourself. Don't you can't fool me. You can't be beliefs keep you in false comfortable. Yep. Believe me, you can't fool me. You cannot fool me. You can fool everybody else. But you got to really think about it. What's holding me back to where I need to be at? You can say the government. You can say it's Biden. You can say it's Trump. You can say it's the LPTG. You can tell it everybody else. Ain't nobody holding you back but you. And your idol worshiping of what you think is going to sustain you for now. What's holding you back? You can't fool nobody but your own self. It is your own fault, the reason you were at the place you're at. I challenge you. Men grow through challenge. They do not grow through comfortability. Let me say that again. Men grow through challenge. And you look at any man who has accomplished anything, from Malcolm to Martin to other people out there, they grew through the things that they were challenged, not through the things of being caked up and being what everybody comfortable with them. Show me a man who has accomplished anything, and I'll show you a man who had some areas where he's had some challenges, uncomfortable. I was just reading a story again about J.D. Rockefeller. I don't care if y'all like him or not. I don't care. I don't really care. He was at a place where the government was coming down on him on his monopoly that he had and things he was doing. It made him uncomfortable. Actually, he got sick. I think he even got alopecia, lost his hair and all like that. But he had to grow uncomfortable. Now, J.D. Rockefeller's father was like one of them salesmen and things like that. He was pretty scandalous in business. J.D., when he was little, made it in himself. He was a hustler. J.D. Rockefeller was a hustler since he was a kid. And he refused to be allow what his father did, William Rockefeller, and how they were living to hold him back. He refused to be poor. So y'all can talk about where J.D. Rockefeller, he did this, they took money, he did that. No, 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 no. He looked at how his father, how they moved from here, moved to there, moved over there when he was a kid, and how poor they were. He said, I will not be poor. The other thing is, whether you like it or not, J.D. Rockefeller was a giver. Every person that he had when he was around, he gave them a dime. He carried around a dime, and he was a giver. Why did he give around a dime? Because he wanted to remind himself of where he came from and how uncomfortable it was, that he made sure that he sold it into the future. So any person, he don't care if it was the executive, it was the person on the streets, whoever it was, he made sure he gave every person a dime. And back then, back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, a dime was you can do a lot with a dime. But he made sure he gave. He invested in education and in the medical. His wife, last name was Spelman. She was a giver to the Baptist college. Later, she was a giver. She was a generous giver, and she gave. So they changed the name to Spelman College, that a lot of black women go to. What would they say about your life if you are content and being comfortable where you're at? Y'all can talk about JD. He did this. He was shiesty and all that. He was a businessman. He was very shrewd. Don't get me wrong. I read the history, went over that this week. But what are they going to say about you? Are you going to be comfortable in just living? See, JD could have been comfortable living like William, his father, Rockefeller. And you would have never known of a J.D. Rockefeller, John Rockefeller, if it wasn't for him, his upbringing and being uncomfortable where he's at. Matter of fact, J.D. Rockefeller actually was so in so much influence here that he pretty much had Cleveland by the hand. Beautiful house he had here, land. And then he helped other people. Y'all need to look at examples like that and say, what can I do as a man? Stop saying that the black man is holding you down. Stop saying that the white man is holding you down. Stop saying that the women got the education. Stop. That's all mechanisms, excuses to say that I'm going to be comfortable staying at the same station in life. I'm talking to you, brothers. Y'all there? I get it. Man challenged towards greatness in this hero's journey. To be the best version of yourself, get comfortable being uncomfortable so you can rise above adversity. Correct. And that's exactly what J.D. Rockefeller did. So too many guys, too many people are comfortable because they're thinking about the right now and they're not thinking about where they need to go next. You're going deep, hella, yeah, we're here, okay. Maybe being uncomfortable isn't for. Great point. Maybe being uncomfortable isn't for everyone. Let me stop that right there. That right there is very, very, very good. Very good. Very good right there. Maybe being uncomfortable isn't for everyone. And that is the honest to God truth. Some people are satisfied eating neck bones and rice, living in a little cottage because they don't want more for their life and they don't want more for anybody else around them. And you're completely 100% right. Being uncomfortable is not for everyone. But if you're part of the thinking class, you in part of anything that I'm doing over here, you got to realize this, like I always say, this is not for everyone. Being uncomfortable isn't for everyone. Some people are okay dealing with Susie Q. Uh-oh, y'all going in now. Is it fair to say that being uncomfortable is a way of throwing their uncomfortable insecurities on other folks? Oh, that's good. That's fair. Is it fair to say that say them being uncomfortable is a way of throwing their insecurities on other folks as if they set their own limitations? Correct. You're correct. You're very correct about that. Some people and some men use the excuse and not venturing out past where they're at are getting uncomfortable. And I'm going to say this because it reveals your insecurities. It's not supposed to be for everyone, though. Part of being a leader is to be seen as a hero to others, so you can serve the hero within themselves. Correct. But I think what happens is, see, being uncomfortable reveals your insecurities, your limitations, your thoughts of going back to what it used to be, and it reveals who you are. And everybody's not ready. Let me say this again. Everyone's not ready to be revealed or for them to see themselves. Everyone's not ready for them to see themselves. They don't want to do that. It's very uncomfortable when you got to look in the mirror and you see your flaws and you see your area. You look at your body and you look at your teeth, you look at your eyes, you look at your ear. It's very uncomfortable. For a minute, I'm be very clear. It was very uncomfortable to see me to have gray in my beard. But now I don't even give a rat's butt. Getting uncomfortable, once again, forces the game that's inside of you to come out. I remember the first show that I did back in 2007. Women don't like nice. Women don't like nice guys. That was the first show I ever did. I was stuttering. I was nervous. I was wondering if anybody was going to listen to me. This is way back. It was on Blog Talk Radio. And it had a call-in channel where you can call in. I was like, I pray nobody call in. I did it for 30 minutes. I kept looking at the clock. But as I became comfortable in it, it became easier. Then I had to make adjustment from off of Blog Talk over to YouTube. I had to learn the system. I had to learn how to operate it. I had to learn how to get my audio right. Why? You go from stages of being comfortable to being uncomfortable to learning. And that's exactly what I did since 2007, even doing this. Even the ability to talk in front of people, to think on my feet, to come up with topics, to think about something to talk about. I had to learn to be uncomfortable, sometimes not knowing when I step to this microphone, not knowing what I'm going to say next. That's a skill set that you have to get. Some of your skill sets are not going to be revealed until you get uncomfortable. Let me say that again. Some of you guys' skill sets are not going to be revealed to the world and to you until you get uncomfortable. Shoot, some of the people that you need to meet and deal with are not going to show up until you get uncomfortable. Some of the money that you should be having is not going to happen until you get uncomfortable. How many of you, and I'm challenging every man, I'm going to say this again, men grow through challenge, not comfortability. How many of you men have to be need to be challenged and needs to be challenged? Let me put it out there that way. How many of you men need to be challenged in your life? How many of you men need to be challenged? You can get all the game in the world. We can talk about women. We can talk about the system. We can talk about all that kind of stuff. But most time what's robbing men from moving forward or changing the narrative is because they had grown too comfortable. Rising to meet those challenges shouldn't have been easy, but the great ones make it look easy. Correct. You can't talk about child support and be comfortable in the child support systems and laws as a man. You know, we got a whole sector on YouTube complaining about child support. And the women doing this. You can, the women are doing this. They got support. They're taking all the money. They're doing all this. I can't understand. Okay, what are you doing to challenge that? And what are you doing to bring balance to it? Normally the people complaining are the ones who are uncomfortable but don't want to take any action. Let me say that again. Normally the ones who are complaining about everything that's going on are normally the ones who complain but don't want to take any action. Check it out. Check it. I don't care if it's a star. I don't care who it is. The ones that are complaining about something, and they doing this, and they doing that. The child support laws. The women are doing that. The black man is doing that. The white man is doing it. They're normally ones, they have more mouth, but they don't take any action. You want to see a man go to the next level? He don't talk much. His actions speak louder than his words. The number one complainers are the ones who have the least amount of action. That goes with political. That goes with political. That goes with political. You want to see reformation? You want to see things reform? Oh, we can talk about it. We can have all that stuff done. But until you put some action, put some feet behind it, you're comfortable. I heard that. Paralysis of analysis. The main thing stopping people from being great. Correct. They refuse to take action. And the reason why they stop them from taking action, because like brother said in here, is because they're the fear of the unknown and they don't know the consequences of their actions. That's the reason why some of you guys, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. So today, if I were to say anything, your ability to be uncomfortable is where you will find the gold. I'm writing down something. If this has helped you in any kind of way, let me know in the chat room. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat room. I'll correct that. Advice for looking back on your. Oh, okay, good. Confining my beliefs and mindset. Yeah, conforming. Okay, conforming my beliefs and mindset. Good. Advice for looking back on your life. So if you look back in your life, I'm gonna say this. So you look back in your life. One of the biggest things that you can do is look back in your life and not judge yourself on your life. Many times what stops us or keeps us repeating things is because we keep what? You have a question? Okay. I'll ask the chat too. So advice for looking back on your life, your old life. What happens is what robs us when we look back at our old life is we judge ourselves for the things that we did, and we never forgive us. We never look to forgive ourselves for our old life. When you learn to forgive yourself, then what happens is your old life doesn't become what? As enticing as it was, or it doesn't become, it doesn't have the hold on you. So you look at your old life and say, you don't look at it as a friend. You don't look at it as an enemy. You look at it as a teacher. You must look at your old life not as a friend, not as an enemy, but you must look at your old life as a teacher. When you look at your old life as a teacher, you will profit from your old life and the things of who you were before, and you will grow from it. Let me go to the next one. I have a question. How does a person find the hero in them to face the challenges that scares him or her? Great question. Let me repeat it again. How does a person find the hero in them to face the challenges that scares them, him or her? Great question. So I'm going to step into the water with this one. You find the hero in you when you begin to recognize that there is a hero in you. Many times we looking for the hero and we have not embodied the hero that we are. Second of all, let me take it a little bit further. So you got to look and say, I'm no longer looking to find the hero in me. I am the hero. Next step, to face the challenges that scares them. You go past facing them and you go to the place, you fast forward the tape and you go to the place, I am the hero that has already faced challenges that fear me. Isn't that easy? You see, what happens is we are positioning ourselves behind the 8-ball and not ahead of the 8-ball. So you got to first recognize your personhood. I am already the hero. And nothing scares me no challenge can scare me. I'm the hero that have already faced millions of challenges, and I grow from them. So what you're doing is you're changing your place in your story. So if we were to read your story correctly, the person has to find the hero, and then he got to deal with the fear of the challenges and then overcome them. Why not be the hero? Scratch that story out and be the hero that faces everything that scares him. What happens is what robs us in this, we're in the wrong position in the story. Why not embody the hero now? If this is making sense, let me make sure I get this to make sense. Why not go to the end of the story or the narrative? I am the hero. I am that hero that already faces challenges that scares me. I did it with ease. I did it with grace. I did it looking pimpish. I admitted did it looking like a grown man. So I'm no longer looking for the hero. I am already the hero. Or let me say it another way. I remember that I am the hero that faces challenges that scared me. I remembered. Let me make sure you get this one. I remembered that I am the hero that already faces challenges that scare me. I can remember that. When you do that, you take the sting out of the challenge and you take the sting out of whatever you're scared of because you already did it. I remember that. Did that make sense? that makes sense, let me know in the chat room. You got to already be that man. So we're trying to look for something that's already there inside of us. That's what happens. I got it. So what you see when you see the end of the chapter, in reality, you see yourself as the ordinary guy that did extraordinary things, just like you're perceived in your head. Correct. I've already been right now. You guys are getting it. Now you guys, you set your what? Set your mind and your body was right. So you got to go to the end of the chapter. Many times we always at the beginning of the chapter. We need to go to the end of the chapter where I'm already that guy. I'm not trying to find the hero. I am the hero. I am the guy who did that. I am the man who did that. Let me say that again. You got to go to the place where you already see. What happens is, if you're constantly looking for the hero, you will never find the hero. If you're always trying to get laid, you will never get laid. If you're always looking, chasing after money, you will never have money. If you're constantly looking for a purpose, you will never find your purpose. If you constantly, I'm not saying for you. I know you asking that. If you constantly, I gotta find this. I'm already into it, making major. Thank you. I'm already there. Or another way to say it, I remember in 2024, I made major accomplishments. I remember in 2024, I jumped over a stick. I climbed the Eiffel Tower, whatever it is, would it be? The problem is we have to go to the end of the story. We're so focused on being at the beginning of the story. Go to the end. That's how our mind works. Then your mind, and then you get out of, the problem is we try to figure out how it's going to happen. The how is none of your business. That's God's business. The how is going to take place is none of your business. That's God's business. Many times we try and play our part, we try to play God's part, and we try to make everything happen. The how is none of your business. The problem is go to the end and say, I'm already that. I remember that I'm the hero. I'm no longer looking for the hero. I'm not even I am that person. You say, well, that sounds too simple, LDA. Most of the things that are deep are simple. Sometimes start we read the same sentence. Correct. Go to the end and see who you are. Anybody who accomplished anything, what did Martin say? I went to the mountaintop. I seen little girls and little boys and greeting this, holding hands. He went to the end. Why did he give the end at that speech? So that you live at the end and embody it, and then allow the how to take place. Allow the people to show up to make that a reality. What happens is we're always fighting backwards. What did Mike Tyson say when he wanted to fight? He already knew, I'm the greatest. I can do all this. I can beat anybody up. What did Mike Tyson do? He talked so much. Muhammad Ali, he will predict the fight where he gonna knock you out or when you gonna lose. What did he do? He went to the end and then watched it take place. And I'm not talking about just manifestation and I don't know hocus pocus stuff. No, Muhammad Ali said, "I'm the greatest. I know nobody gonna. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna swing in the second. I'm gonna do this in the fourth, but in the fifth, I'm gonna make you." He did. What did he do? He was what? He was already the end of what he spoke what he saw at the end, and then watched it take place at the beginning. Think about it. And all Mike Tyson did was he emulated what he seen Muhammad Ali do and say that he was the greatest. I'm the baddest. No matter what the other individual said, Muhammad Ali knew you were gonna get it because he went to the end already. And what happens is the reason we don't want to go to the end because it's uncomfortable. Because I ain't gonna even say.
Execute Order 66.
Once again, this is Lawrence D. Allen. Went past my time in an hour and 13 minutes. If you got something from this, any more question, and then I'm gone. I actually like this mic. It sounds really good. If you picked up when I was putting down, let me know in the chat room. And I hope I challenged you today. I hope I made you look at yourself and say, I need to do something better. Go to the end and live there. I agree. You agree with everything. Appreciate that. Make sure you, now I appreciate you guys last Wednesday when we talked about the, we talked about the Dove soap. Oh boy, that was good last week. Great lecture, LD. It was informative and inspiring. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you last week for the Dove soap, the Dove and the soap, and y'all had to listen to it to get this out. Last question. How do you deal with someone that's in your way? Woo, boy, that's a good one. That's a good one. You might have to put some money on how do you deal with someone that's in your way? Dove soap game last week was good. And thank you for the super chat from our brother right there. I appreciate that. Appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much. How do you deal with someone in your way? Okay, if you're ready for this, you only dealing with your perception that they are in your way. Let me say it again. You're only dealing with the perception that they're in your way. Who told you that they were in your way? Who's convinced you that a person can be in your way? Who's lied to you? Who's hoodwinked you? Who's bamboozled you to believe that someone is in your way? Why did you give your power away to think that this person is stopping who you are? Who's convinced you that someone is stopping you? You created the story in your mind that this person is in your way, and all they're doing is conforming to what you believe they're doing. There's no one can stand in your way but you. And what happens is, if you don't realize your power, you'll give your power away and cause people to be in your way, and then you get mad at them and not realize you were the person who perceived that this person is in your way. How do you deal with it? Simply, you deal with it first. You go within first and say, why am I putting this person on a pedestal that they're in my way? Who told me that? Who convinced me of that? No, my brother. You reposition them in your mind and you say, wow, this person is not in my way. This person is a help for my way. And that one's for free. You reposition the person that They're no longer, you changed the sentence that you just say. No, this person is a help. There's no one in your way that you did not place in your way. They're all in your, you all created it. You keep perceiving them that they're in your way. And guess what they're going to do? Constantly be in your way. I remember it was a particular boss in my job. He used to irritate the living daylights out of me. We didn't get along. I told him off. We go back and forth. We had words. I was about to, I wanted to put hands on him. But I said, let me think about this. Who's the real issue here? Me or him? And why have I keep creating that this person is the issue? Because I was believing everybody else. Once I changed my perception of him, he began to change. He began to change in my world. He began to change in my world. Oh, there you go, Shaw. I get it. You are what you attract. So it may be that you're stopping yourself by attracting bigger mountains to climb, and you're heading. I can't see this heart is in the way. I don't know why it does this. I forgot. Bigger eyes come. What they are in reality. Great advice, sir. Yeah. You attracted the person to be in your way. You created it. Because you think that if I have somebody in my way, and I overcome them, I feel better about myself. Ain't nobody stopping you but you. Not your mama, not your grandmother, nobody. All right, I got to go on that one. Let me put you heard this music in a while. Peace. This is when spirituality in the game combines. You have the Think Cloud. This is Lawrence D. Adams, and I'm out.